February will be cold. You will like it. I know how that sounds. You're Scorpio, fire and water, passion that burns through steel. The last thing you want is ice. But I also know something else. You're tired. Tired of feeling everything at maximum voltage. Tired of the way your heart detonates every time someone looks at you wrong. Tired of burning so hot that you can't tell if you're transforming or just destroying yourself. I've watched it happen. Scorpios who thought their intensity was their power until it became their prison. The fire that was supposed to forge you consumed you instead. February is different. The universe is handing you something sharp, not a sword, a scalpel. Aquarius season runs from January 19th to February 18th. The sun moves into the coldest sign of the zodiac. Air, detachment, observation without drowning. And here's what most astrologers won't tell you. This is exactly what you need. Pluto, your ruler, is in Aquarius now, 2023 to 2043, a generational shift. The old Scorpio playbook is burning. Revenge, control, emotional warfare, dead strategies. The new power is colder, cleaner, strategic. You are being trained to become the surgeon. But first, you need to understand what coldness really means, because your instinct will fight it. Your shadow will scream that detachment equals death, that if you stop feeling, you stop existing. That's the trap, and I need to show you why you've been caught in it your whole life. Listen closer. The difference between coldness and numbness is everything. Your identity is built on intensity. To feel deeply is to be alive. To merge completely is to know truth. To burn is to transform. This is the Scorpio gospel, the religion you were born into. And now February arrives with a different scripture, one written in ice. Your body rejects it immediately. When you try to let go, when you attempt detachment, you don't feel free. You feel empty, hollow. Like someone scooped out your insides and left a shell. So you grab back onto the pain, the anger, the obsession, because at least when you're burning, you know you're real. Check your history. How many times have you walked away from something toxic only to return? Not because it got better, because the silence was unbearable. The void terrified you more than the wound. This is the Scorpio trap. You have confused feeling with being. The equation in your mind reads, I feel, therefore I am. No feeling equals no existence. The shadow whispers, if you stop drowning in emotion, you'll disappear. And you believe it, because every time you've tried to be calm or rational, every time you've attempted the Aquarian distance, it felt like death. Like watching yourself from outside your body, numb, disconnected, wrong. So you dove back into the fire, back into the chaos, back into the intensity that at least felt like home. But here's what the shadow won't tell you. The phoenix, your sacred symbol, is not just the fire. It is also the ash, the stillness between deaths, the cold, silent moment when the old form is gone and the new has not yet emerged. You think the fire is you, but the phoenix is the entire cycle. And right now, you are in the ash phase. February is not asking you to stop feeling. It is asking you to stop being controlled by the feeling. to observe the emotion instead of becoming it. This is the difference between coldness and numbness. Numbness is shutting down. Coldness is waking up. Numbness is refusing to see. Coldness is seeing too clearly to look away. A surgeon cannot operate on someone they love. Too much emotion. The hand shakes. The cut goes wrong. February is handing you the scalpel and saying, operate on your own life. But to do that, you must step back. You must see the body, not the person. The pattern, not the drama. The infection, not the history. And your instinct, trained by years of emotional immersion, will fight this with everything it has. Right now, scan your body. Where are you holding tension? Jaw? Chest? Stomach? That's where you're refusing to let go. That's where you're clinging to the heat because the cold feels like abandonment. I have watched Scorpios destroy themselves this way, burning through relationships, jobs, their own health, because stopping felt like dying. The fire consumed them. The transformation they sought never came because they never allowed the ash. If you fight February's coldness, you will burn out. The intensity you think is your strength will become your collapse. The stars are not punishing you. They are saving you. But only if you stop running back to the flames. So let me tell you what coldness actually is. Because you have been lied to your entire life about what detachment means. They told you coldness equals cruelty. Distance equals abandonment. Observation equals not caring. All lies. Here's the truth. Coldness is precision. Detachment is power. Distance is the only way to see clearly. Think of a surgeon. A surgeon cannot operate on someone they love. You know why? Because the hand shakes, the vision blurs, emotion clouds judgment. The cut that could save a life becomes the cut that kills. Too much feeling in the moment of action is not compassion. It is sabotage. February is handing you the scalpel, not to hurt, to heal. But you cannot operate on your own life while drowning in the feeling of it. You need the surgeon's eyes now. The surgeon does not see the person on the table. The surgeon sees the system, the body, the infection, the tumor, the problem that needs precision. Right now, your life is the body on the table, and you have been too close to see what is killing it. Step back. Look at your relationships as systems, not as emotions. Where is the infection? Who drains your energy without return? Where are you giving blood to something already dead? Look at your patterns as mechanics, not as identity. What behaviors loop endlessly? What reactions hijack you before thought arrives? Where are you the addict, not the chooser? The Stoics understood this 2,000 years ago. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." February is that realization in real time. You will notice something strange this week. Decisions that paralyzed you for months will suddenly become simple. Not because you care less, because you see more. Conversations that used to trigger rage or tears will feel distant, like watching a film. You will hear the words, recognize the pattern, and choose your response instead of reacting from the wound. Someone will try to pull you into drama. You will feel the old heat rising, and then, if you allow the coldness, you will pause. You will ask a new question, not, who hurt me, but why does this pattern keep appearing? Not, how do I win this fight, but what am I protecting by staying in this war? That pause, that question, that is the scalpel entering the flesh. It will feel unnatural. Your instinct, the Scorpio fire that has kept you alive through every betrayal, every loss, will scream at you to feel more, not less. Ignore it. The discomfort is not a warning. It is the surgery beginning. The phoenix does not enjoy becoming ash, but the ash is not the end. It is the preparation for what comes next. You are not losing yourself in the coldness. You are finding the self beneath the emotion. The part of you that exists before the reaction. The observer. The strategist. The one who can see the chessboard while everyone else is screaming at the pieces. This is what Aquarius season offers Scorpio every year. And this is what Pluto in Aquarius is demanding of you for the next 2 decades. Master the cold. Or burn out trying to stay warm. The choice has always been yours. The scalpel is in your hand now. This week, February 4th through 6th, you begin the surgery. Not on others, on your own life. And here's the first cut. Make a list. Not of feelings, of facts. What relationships drain you? Write the names. No stories attached. No justifications. No, but they meant well, or, but we have history. Just names. The people who take more than they give. The ones who call only when they need something. The ones who make you feel smaller after every conversation. Write them down. What habits keep you stuck? Write those too. Not vague concepts like, I procrastinate. Specific actions. I check my ex's social media at 2 in the morning. I say yes when I mean no. I stay in arguments I know I cannot win. No excuses, just behaviors. The patterns you repeat even though they hurt you. This is not cruelty. This is diagnosis. A surgeon does not operate blindfolded. Neither can you. The Aquarius New Moon arrives around February 9th. The universe hands you a clean slate. But you must wipe the board first. You cannot write a new story on top of the old one. The ink will bleed through. And here is where Scorpio power meets Aquarian strategy. You have spent your life building intensity, passion, depth, fire that could melt steel. But fire alone does not create empires. It creates ashes. Pluto in Aquarius, your ruler moving through the sign of systems and structures, is teaching you the next level. Long-term power does not come from burning brighter. It comes from building systems that do not need your constant flame to survive. A relationship that only works when you are pouring all your energy into it, that is not love. That is life support. A career that only moves forward when you are sacrificing your health, that is not ambition. That is self-destruction. A version of yourself that only feels alive when drowning in emotion, that is not authenticity. That is addiction. February shows you the difference, and here is your test, your proving ground. When someone triggers you this week, and they will, pause. Do not react. Do not defend. Do not attack. Count to 10. Slowly. Observe the feeling like a scientist observing a specimen under glass. What does the anger want? Where does it come from? Is it about this moment or an old wound? new face. You will feel the Scorpio instinct rising, the need to strike back, to make them feel what they made you feel, to win. Let it rise. Watch it. Do not act on it. This is the surgery, the separation of self from reaction. The moment you realize you are not your emotions, you are the one who experiences them. If you can do this once, just once, you have begun the transformation. By mid-February, you will notice something strange. Peace. Not numbness. Not the hollow emptiness you feared. Actual peace. Decisions that used to paralyze you will become clear, not because you care less, because you see more. The fog of emotion lifts. The chessboard appears. You will realize the cold was never the enemy. The addiction to heat was. But I must warn you, there is a trap in the coldness. I have watched Scorpios become so skilled at detachment, they forgot how to return. They won every battle. They cut away every weakness. They became untouchable, and they lost their souls in the process. The surgeon can become the executioner. When you learn to operate without feeling, when you master the scalpel of clarity, there is a seductive power in it. The ability to cut anything, anyone, any connection that inconveniences you. I knew a Scorpio once. Brilliant mind. After years of being burned by trust, they decided to become ice. Pure strategy. No vulnerability. No warmth. They succeeded. They built an empire of efficiency. Every decision calculated. Every relationship transactional. They never got hurt again. But when I looked in their eyes, I saw nothing. Not peace. Not power. Just the cold void of someone who had amputated their own heart to stop the bleeding. This is the shadow of February's lesson. Detachment without compassion is not wisdom. It is just another prison, another mask. The frozen Scorpio is as trapped as the burning one. Jung warned about this. When you repress the shadow, it does not disappear. It transforms. The Scorpio who drowns in emotion becomes the Scorpio who drowns in ice. Same ocean, different temperature. February is not asking you to become Aquarius. It is asking you to borrow Aquarius's eyes, temporarily, strategically. You are still Scorpio. The fire is still there. The capacity for deep feeling, for transformation, for rebirth. But now you control when it burns. The Tibetan masters teach something they call cool compassion. The ability to see clearly, to act wisely, to feel deeply, but not to drown. This is the balance. The surgeon who operates with precision, but remembers they are cutting into a living being. The strategist who sees the board, but does not forget the human cost of each move. Check yourself this week. If you find yourself feeling nothing, not peace, but emptiness, you have gone too far. If conversations that used to move you now bore you, if people who love you feel like obstacles, if you catch yourself thinking everyone is weak for having emotions, stop. The goal is not to kill the heart. The goal is to stop letting the heart make all the decisions. You are learning to be both, the feeler and the observer, the phoenix and the ash, the fire and the one who controls it. This is mastery, not the absence of emotion, the sovereignty over it. February is not the end. You feel it now. the coldness settling into your bones like winter that overstayed its welcome. The detachment you practiced becoming easier. Too easy, maybe. This is the ash phase. The phoenix does not burn forever. After the fire dies, there is stillness, gray silence. The world waiting to see if something will rise or if the ashes will just scatter in the wind. Most people fear the fire. You know better. You fear the stillness, because in stillness there is no drama to hide behind, no intensity to prove you are alive. Just you and the question, who are you when you are not burning? February forces this question. The coldness strips away the heat until all that remains is structure, bone, foundation, the parts of you that do not need fire to exist. And here is what I have seen in every Scorpio who survives this month. They discover something terrifying and beautiful. They discover they are not the fire. They are the force that decides when to burn. As we move into Pisces season in late February, the energy shifts. The universe softens. The ice begins to crack. You will feel warmth returning to the world, to your chest, to the connections you thought you had severed. But you will be different. The Scorpio who enters March will not be the Scorpio who entered February. You will return to feeling, but this time you will not drown. You will swim. You will have learned the rarest skill, to feel without being controlled by the feeling, to love without losing yourself, to care without sacrificing your clarity. This is what the cold was for. Not to freeze you permanently, to teach you that you can survive without constant heat, that stillness is not death. That space between breaths is where power lives. The ancients knew this. Transformation requires death, but death requires stillness. February is your stillness, the pause between who you were and who you are becoming. The ash does not know it will become the phoenix. It just waits in the dark, holding the memory of fire and the promise of flight. Trust the cold. It is not punishment. It is preparation. We have walked through the cold together. You have seen the trap, the addiction to intensity, the fear that detachment means death. You have been given the scalpel. The surgeon's tools, the observer's eyes. The question now is, will you use it? I cannot do the surgery for you. Only you can cut away what no longer serves. Only you can decide which connections are feeding you and which are draining you. Only you can choose to step back when the fire starts to consume instead of transform. But I can tell you this, the cold will not kill you. The refusal to change will. I have seen Scorpios cling to burning buildings because the heat felt like home. I have watched them choose familiar agony over unfamiliar peace. Because pain, at least, is something. Numbness is nothing. But you know better now. You know the difference. Coldness is not numbness. Coldness is precision. Distance is not abandonment. Distance is perspective. The surgeon does not hate the patient. The surgeon saves the patient by refusing to drown in their pain. This week, practice the pause. When emotion rises, and it will rise, observe it. Do not suppress it. Do not judge it. Name it. This is anger. This is fear. This is grief pretending to be rage. Let it pass through you like weather. You are not the storm. You are the sky that holds it. You are not your feelings. You are the one who feels them. That is the power February gave you. The ability to witness your own fire without being burned by it. To hold the scalpel steady even when your hand wants to shake. To make decisions from clarity instead of wounds. February was your training ground. March is your test. The warmth will return. Pisces season will soften the edges. The world will ask you to feel again, and you will. But you will not be the same Scorpio who entered this month desperate for heat. You will be the surgeon, the phoenix who learned to wait in the ash, the one who knows that stillness is not weakness, that coldness is not cruelty, that sometimes the most loving thing you can do is step back and let the pattern reveal itself. The mirror does not lie. Look closer. You are becoming the surgeon. I see you.